This is going to be a review in applying a 1-inch graph to your work surface. So I'm working with a piece of 12 by 16 watercolor board. Doesn't matter if you start in landscape or portrait view, but what you are going to do is line up your ruler to the left edge near the bottom of your paper, and you're going to mark every inch. So just a small little mark right above the inch line. And I'm using a 4H pencil. If you have troubles drawing and creating light marks on your paper, you may want to use an H pencil. An H pencil is, of course, a harder graphite, so it will give you a lighter line. Just be careful not to press hard with it. Going to move my ruler to the top of my paper, and I will once again line up my 0 to the left edge. Move something that's blocking my ruler from moving over there. And again, mark every inch. And again, just a very small little mark above the 1-inch line on the ruler. Now I am using an 18-inch ruler. So when I go to line up my bottom marks and my top marks together, my ruler is going to fit the entire length. If you are using a shorter ruler, you may want to make measurements along the middle of your paper so that you can have straight lines from top to bottom. Now there will be no border on this project, so I'm just going to draw from the edge of my paper to the edge of my paper, and I want extremely light lines. Anytime you draw a grid to work with, you want to draw the lines very light, and that is so that you can easily erase them and remove them from your project when needed. If you make them too dark, they will show through a lot of mediums. And we are working with watercolor, so that is a very translucent, transparent medium. So pencil lines will show up underneath them. Now, if your paper is of a smaller size, you are still going to do the same process. We're making a 1-inch grid. If your paper is of a larger size, again, same process. You will still want to create a 1-inch grid. So now that I have my grid lines in one direction, I'm going to now turn my board or my paper 1/4 of a turn, and I'm going to repeat the process that I did before. So now my lines I just drew are horizontal. I am going to line up the left edge of my paper and ruler together, and once I have that lined up, I'm going to mark every inch once again. going to move my ruler again to the top of my paper, line up the left edges again, and once again mark every inch. Once I have my marks, then once again I'm going to line up the top row of marks to the bottom row of marks and draw my 1-inch lines in this direction. And again, I am using a 4H pencil, so it's a very hard graphite, so I'm not pressing hard with it because I don't want to damage the surface of my paper. I want my grid lines to be light so that they are easily erased at a later date. But this will just help me draw my self-portrait onto my work surface, or any image I'm going to draw, as long as I place a grid, either a 1-to-1 or a 1/2-to-1 or a 1-to-2, as long as it is proportionate. I can use any type of grid in my image reference and on my drawing paper. So there I have my 1-inch grid applied, and my paper is now ready for me to start drawing.